Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So as you know by today's title of the video, I'm going to be doing just a super quick settings and keybinds guide for ultimate beginners of World of Warcraft. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much depth around it. I'm just purely going to give you some basic tips and advice that you can adjust as soon as you start the game. So as you can see here, I've started a brand new character. I didn't even bother changing the way he looks or anything. I already have a level 60 mage, so I'm not going to really bother actually doing anything with this character. I purely made him just for the point of this video. But this is going to be kind of there's no add-ons, completely add-onless, and I'm just going to help the UI run that little bit nicer, look a bit cleaner, and give you some general rules, because the default settings in WoW surprisingly are really bad. So yeah, we're going to get into the video anyway. If the video helps, please, if you wouldn't mind dropping a like and subscribing if you enjoy the content. So anyway, first things first, what we're going to talk about is like the two major don't do rules in World of Warcraft. These two rules are basically keyboard turning, which is where I'm using A and D to move, okay, and clicking your abilities, okay. You don't want to be a clicker. I know some people can still do high level content as clicking, but I feel that doing what I do and getting into the habit early of just using your actual keybinds is so much easier. But they're the two major rules. So you're not going to do this and you're not going to click. Now the keyboard turning, using A and D to turn, I'm going to go through that in the settings to change that anyway, so that's fine. Okay. So we're gonna you've loaded up your game, and then you're just gonna go to options, okay, and I'm literally just gonna go through everything. All right, controls. First off, you want sticky targeting on. This will prevent you from accidentally deselecting enemies when in fights, which is good. You can have this auto dismount in flight on or off. It doesn't particularly matter. I would pick auto loot straight off, so then you just don't get into the habit of having to loot everything individually, and combine your bags into a single bag, and that way when you click B, they'll obviously I only have one bag, so I've just realized it won't show, but it'll show as one big backpack rather than a load of different ones, okay, which is what you obviously you don't want, because it just looks messy. Okay, so anyway, go back to your options. So the only other thing I'll say change when you are down here is where you put camera following style, change it to never adjust camera. That way when you're moving, if you want to move the camera, it'll not auto rotate back. But let's say your camera's off and you're like, oh crap, I'm all over the shop, I don't know which way I'm going. Just press down on your left and right buttons, your left mouse button and your right mouse button, and then this is kind of like a move the camera and move your character at the same time. Okay, you can also do it by WASDing while holding your right button down as well. That's like your basic movement, but we're going to get into that in a minute anyway. So that's the first options. I get rid of the interact with target, because F is such a good key that we do not want it bound to anything until later. So you're going to take that off. Enable interact key, you don't want it. All right, just tap people when you go near them. Okay, that's fine. I know they've done that to try and be a bit more user-friendly, but honestly, I think just because the amount of buttons you need to be able to press, that's fine in games where you only have 5 or 3 abilities at a time. But when you have all of these, you want to make sure you've got as many keybinds available. All right. So anyway, so that's your controls. You're going to go to interface. Now, if you want your name on, you can. I personally don't have it off. You can have hostile and quest NPCs names on, which is fine. I don't really touch anything here. Nameplates, you can choose larger nameplates if you want to, you know, if you want to see them a bit larger. I'll give you an example. It's not changing it. Another thing, sorry. Click V. Enemy nameplates turned on combat. Okay, you want them on at all time. Okay. So they're slightly bigger nameplates. if you want them. Or you can have the standard one there. Okay, there is add-ons that you can use when you feel comfortable using add-ons that have better looking nameplates. All right, but it's up to you. It's personal preference. I personally just leave them as they are. Okay. Friendly nameplates I don't particularly have on. It doesn't particularly matter. Because if you're going to be DPSing, then yeah. And then you just want to choose overlapping nameplates rather than stacking, because otherwise they're just going to take up your full screen. Okay. Display, there's nothing really to touch here. Obviously, if you want tutorials on or off, I have them on and off. Outline mode, it's fine. Yeah. Raid frames, display incoming heals, yes. Display power bars, display aggro highlights, display class colors. Again, just makes it look a bit nicer. Do not display pets, because then you're just going to see everyone's there. Display main tank and assist, show debuff, and then when it says display health text, just put it as health percentage so you can see what everyone's health is. Okay. But again, that's raiding. That's something very far in the future, so I'm not going to talk about it. But now you've done it so your settings are ready to be used as they are when you do eventually get into a raid. Okay. All right. Action bars. Obviously, you start off with one action bar that is on at all times. You can have up to 8 action bars as part of the default game. All right. These can be moved around and adjusted as much as you want. I genuinely never use more than 4, I don't think. Specifically on my Demon Hunter and my Paladin, I don't particularly use. I've never ever used 6, 7, and 8. I can guarantee you that. But what you can do is, and I'll show you a way to make it look a little bit cleaner soon. I would just activate 2, 3, and 4. Make sure you have these 3 are going to be like abilities that you're going to be like, abilities that you're going to be fighting with, your spells. And along this one, I put like hearthstones, potions, and so on and so forth. That I can just click on the side. Stuff that I'm not going to need. Well, potions, sorry, I'll put on a key. But hearthstones and stuff that's not combat related, like mounts, stuff like that, I'll just put up here so I can just go over and click them as and when I need them. But don't worry, these are not just going to sit there empty the whole time. We are going to have it so they're hidden unless there's a spell there. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. All right. You can do lock action bars. So, for example, if you can't accidentally click it and drag it off, if you hold shift though and you want to move that somewhere else, you can. Okay. So hold shift, move your spell around, do what you want. If you don't hold shift, try and drag it away, it won't work. All right. So that's that. And then last thing here, click show number on cooldowns. That way you can see how many seconds left there's going to be on a cooldown. Where there it says 3 minutes. If I didn't have that on, you just get that little grayed out bit. I like to know the specific timings. Alright. Combat. Personal resource display. I have it on. This basically means when you lose health, regardless of where this is, your little a little nameplate will appear. I'll see if I can do it, see if I can lose some health. There. That will appear there so you can see now. Until I leave combat, that's going to appear here. So regardless of where this is, you're always going to be able to have that in the middle of your screen. Okay, that's that. All right. And so that's there. You can move it if you want. You can have hide or not. You can have it show special resources, show personal cooldown, show friendly buffs. I just have this ticked and then that's it. Raid self highlight is circle, which is fine. Target of target. You don't have to worry too much about that. Loss of control alerts is fine. Everything down here. Self-cast key, leave it. You can put it to the control key, actually. That's fine. More for healing and stuff like that if you wanted to. Focus cast key, again, just leave that. I just find controls a bit better than alt. It's nicer to hit with my keys. Empowered spell input, just, yeah, again, leave these pretty much as they are. Right. Social. These are all just personal preference, to be honest. You want chat style, IM style, not classic style. I like the IM style personally. New whispers, open up a new tab, that's fine. So then if someone messages you, it goes to a different here. So it would appear like call it whisper, just so you can see. It would appear like this, obviously, but it would be the name of the person who's whispered to you. Alright. So that's there, so you know you don't get it logged up. And then enable Twitter if you really want to enable Twitter. Alright. Key bindings. Now, this is where it gets sort of interesting. There are a load of keybinds in this game. Alright. A lot. Alright. But a lot of them, as default, are used for sort of things we don't really need. Okay? Like some of this stuff here I've never used. I don't even have numpad on my keyboard. I only have a 60% keyboard, so I can't even do that one if I really wanted to. Minimap, I literally just come up and scroll it. I don't need to do this. Toggle music, and stuff you would just change in the sounds. You don't need all this stuff, alright? Next view, you know, stuff like this. Again, numpads. I can't even use numpads, but I don't even... You get a vehicle exit button, I just click it. Like, that's just get out of it. Alright? Show enemy nameplates. Now, V is a one we're going to be using for our skills. So what I do is for show enemy nameplate, I just click Alt V. Alright? Sometimes, I just have them on at all time anyway. But for sometimes I've noticed in the newer dungeons in Dragonflight, you'll go through the instance and the nameplates will just turn off. Obviously, if you've got V bound to something else, it's always just nice to have Alt V there. Just so you can make sure that's definitely turned on. Alright? So that's that. Assist target, unbind that, you don't mind it. Pet attack. Yeah, if you're using pets, fine, keep that. I don't touch anything sort of pet related, okay? You can do your pets as you want. Alright? So tab targeting is obviously the way of the game. You can also use tab as a keybind if you want. Personally, I am very much in the habit of tab targeting now, because I tried so hard to make sure I did get into the habit of it when I was coming from a game that didn't do tab targeting. So I personally do leave it to target my enemies. But if you want to and you want to just click them as and when you're moving around, that is what the pros tend to do. Okay, so that's probably the best way to do it. Or it's what I've seen people on YouTube. I'm saying the pros, the people who've got a lot of experience in this game. But for me personally, I keep it tab targeting. So if you want to copy me exactly, then it's tab. Okay. So let's get up to the movement keys for a start. So you can see here, Q and E are strafe left and strafe right. That's much better than keyboard turning, right? But Q and E are such good keys to use, right? So you're going to play options. You're going to get rid of turn left and turn right. You can leave your arrows on there if you really want to. If you want to use your arrows with your right hand for whatever reason. Want to make a dramatic effect or something. And then put strafe left and strafe right to A and D. WS is still move forward and move backwards. That way when you're doing AS, you're moving with WASD, you're not keyboard turning. If you want to turn, just right click your mouse while you're moving. And just get used to it like that. And then you've got your mouse there to, you know, do whatever. Alright. And you can hold left. Will adjust your camera. If you hold them both, it will send you back in the direction you're facing with the camera. And if you just keep it down, if you hold R, hold your right click mouse button and then move with WAS and D. Alright. I tend to find myself, I just do left and right click a lot of the time. Just then my left hand's free. I can be eating or whatever I'm doing. And I just move like this. And then if you want to, you know, adjust your camera, if you want to make a video where you're running away from something, you can do it like that. Alright, nice and easy. Alright, anyway. So that's that fine. Again, X and Z. Really good buttons to be using on keybinds. Because basically, what you want to do is make sure your keybinds are as close to you as possible. 6, 7, 8, 9, 0... that and that. I can't hit with my left hand without really moving away from where WASD is. So I get rid of these and I put other things there. So again, X and Z. Now these are pretty much... I could not really care less if I have the ability to sit down or not. But some people, you know, for the role play aspect, if you really want to, you can just do it Alt X, Alt Z, action toggle user interface is now unbound. So keep an eye out for stuff like this. If you unbind something that you think, oh, actually, I want that, go back, change it to whatever it needs to be. All right. You can, if you find something, I don't care about toggling the user interface on and off or not. But if you really wanted to toggle user interface and you wanted to make sure it's there, just find and try Control Z. That's not unbound anything. So there you go. So if you want to unsheath your weapon and sit down, it's Alt Z and Alt X. If you want to get rid of the UI, just hit Control Z and it disappears. All right. And then that'll do that. And then that'll do that. So again, the option's there if you want it, but honestly, it's not going to be the end of the world. Okay. Right, so spacebar, we keep that at jump. That's absolutely fine. Toggle auto run is numlock and mouse button 4. That can get lost. I would also recommend if you want to change it from I can't think of the change that from to start auto run rather than toggle auto run. But entirely up to you. It doesn't particularly matter. Games, bags, and menus, stuff like interface panels. So again, C is also a really good one. So what I do is I change C to F1. That's now action target self is now unbound. But again, that's something you're probably never going to use. And if I open all bags, you can leave that at B. I'm not going to be using B as a keybind. Or if you wanted to, though, you could do F2. Okay. Or another option, if for some reason you don't have F buttons or whatever, is K. That just gets rid of your professions book, but if you really want to open up your professions book, you just go into your spell book, which is P, and then just tab over to professions. It's not the end of the world that you can't directly open your professions book. It's just on the other page of your spell book. Alright? So there you go. So, you've done that. You've done these. P is fine. Shift and J is obviously your Shift and 1. Is it? That's Shift and 1? Maybe Shift I, actually. I don't know. Toggle talent pin. We leave that at N. Achievements Y. Statistic frame Shift Y. L, M. All these ones, they're fine. J, O. We're not going to be needing them. T, in a sense, is like your chat. But again, I don't really ever. If you want to make chat channels, I don't know. That's entirely up to you. Again, maybe just put it to Alt T. Alright, because T is something. It's not something we want to use a lot, but it is a one I'm going to recommend. H is fine. That's over there. Shift P. Toggle group finder. Is that the number 1 or is that I? That's I, isn't it? Yeah. Which I can't actually do right now because I don't. Group finder is I, yes, and then Shift I was that one we were looking at before, which done something which I can't remember now. But anyway. And Control I is Dungeons and Raids, PvP frames. Again, I can't do it. You can't do it right now because you haven't unlocked it yet because you've still got the starting zone to go through. But anyway, onto the action bars. So for me personally, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are absolutely fine. I leave them there. I get rid of 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and these last 2 here. All right. You can, if you want to. Then just to do modifiers, you can do Shift 1, Shift 2, Shift 3, Shift 4, and Shift 5. You could put some other variation down here, but that's not what I do. I do use Shift modifiers though. But what I like to do is I like to have my main rotation abilities. The abilities I'm going to use a lot of the time are going to go on this one row right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5 is a little bit of a stretch. Just because of the size of my keyboard. But my 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to have Q, E, R, F. Alright? So, Q, E, R, which now action chat reply, which we're not too bothered about, F. Okay? Really nice and simple. You can then come down to C and go around. And you can then do X. And you can do Z. Okay? That has went all the way around. And now every single key I need to use is around my keybinds of W, E, S, and D. So I don't have to move my hands far. Okay. Now, to make it simpler, and again, just to go into the ease of it, go down to action bar 1 and 2, and you're going to do the exact same, but you're just going to hold shift. Alright? Some people are going to tell you not to do this, some people are going to tell you to do it. I'm telling you to do it just because it's just for pure ease. Okay? Alright. And then action bar 3 is for... You could have movement abilities here, healing abilities here. Now, these are abilities that I tend to put for, like I've just said, movement and healing. And I try to use my mouse for this bar. Okay? So I go a mouse. So I have a normal gaming mouse where it just has 2 buttons on the left-hand side. Some MMO people have like a button with... oh, excuse me. Have a one where you've got like 20 buttons on the side. If you wanted to just bash all these on here, you could. But for me, I don't have that option, so I go mouse button 4. Shift mouse button 4. Mouse button 5. Shift mouse button 5. Wheel click. So middle mouse. Shift middle mouse. Okay. You've then got mouse wheel up. Mouse wheel down. Shift mouse wheel up. Shift mouse wheel down. Alright. And then you have them 10 abilities, them 10 skill binds there. And then you could do like, then you've got like T and G, for example. Or you could just do Shift T. So again, abilities that I'm not going to be pressing loads. But I can still, they're not too hard to reach. So I'll have T and Shift T down here. And then you've got, again, you could do G, Shift G. Put it as your mount in your Hearthstone. Stuff like that. These ones, I'm not going to use all of these for keys. Because like I say, some of these are going to be ones we just go on and click. Alright? But you've got G and Shift G over there as well. You could have the little number, the little icon that's next to the 1. I'm not sure what that is. Again, Shift and click it. Again, there you go. There's a couple more keybinds over there for you. And just little things like that. Alright? V as well. Shift V. Now there. Okay. So again, these are... Some people would put V further up this list. But again, I'm just down to sort of personal use. And with V... With C, I can hit with my finger. With V, I have to come up from the spacebar and click it with my thumb. The way I sit with my mouse on my keyboard. My hand on my keyboard, sorry. So I do that. And then like I say though, you can literally just have this like that. And then you could just have a few down there that are just clickable options if you wanted to. Alright? So there's your keybinds. Thank God we got through that. Interface, action bars, extra action bars, chat. Again, you just click enter. Don't have to worry about that. What you noticed is though, we put movement. We put movement on like our zoom in and zoom out. So again, I just go back here to zoom in, control mouse wheel up, and then control mouse wheel down. Action aim decrement is now unbound. I don't use action aiming, so it's fine. So now if I do want to change my camera, not that you do a lot, but it's with control now. When you scroll wheel up, it's going to be one of these, and when you scroll wheel down, it's going to be one of these. And then shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, shift 4, 5. You can see I'm clicking them here. R, F, C, X, Z. Pretty easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Q, E, R, F, C, X, and Z. Alright. Again, because I was saying 5, for example, 5's a bit more of a stretch, so I'll use that as like an interrupt or a stun rather than being part of my major rotation. If I have a few stuns, they tend to go on this little row here. Alright? Obviously, right now, you're probably thinking, well, why the hell do I need all these? Because like I said, there's absolutely no chance in hell I'm going to fill all these out anytime soon. You'll be very surprised how quick you do fill them out. So don't worry about that. Anyway, we're going to go back into our options. We've changed our cameras, everything's fine. Alright? General. Show move pad. No. Cinematic subtitles, again, up to you. Alternate full screen effects. It's entirely up to you. Motion sickness, I just keep camera centered. Camera shake, I have on, you can have it as, you know, full, reduced, none. I had it as none normally. cursor size, just leave it at default. You can make it as big as you really want, but that's just annoying, let's be honest. The default is the 32 by 32 one, I believe. Empowered spell input, hold and release it, that's fine. And then interact key icons just shown on. Alright, everyone's... Now if you do this, that's just the tooltip that appears down the bottom. Alright, without needing to mouse over it. But again, it's not really matter. Colorblind mode. I'm not colorblind, so I don't touch this. If you are colorblind, you know, they've got all these different filters for you. I mean, low-key, that looked quite nice. Looks a bit dull. And you can obviously change the strength of them as well. Again, entirely up to you. Again, I'm not colorblind, so I don't touch these. Okay. Text to speech, don't touch it. Graphics, again, these are all kind of personal preference. I personally disable VSync, anti-aliasing. You can have it as advanced, or you could have it as none. It doesn't really matter. Camera FOV, I just have it all the way up so I can see everything. Use UI scale, you can click that, and then you can start adjusting the UI scale if you want to make it a bit smaller. Click apply, but in fact that's as small as you can go when you use custom, and when you put it up to there, it's bloody massive. Alright, but you don't really want. So either put it as low as possible or just get rid of it, and it'll be even smaller, and then there you go. Alright, graphics quality, that's entirely up to yourself. I imagine when you started up the game it would have gave you a generic idea of what you want. So you can either go up to 10 if you really want to. I am quite lucky in a sense that I have a decent computer, so I probably can run it on 10 and it still looks fairly smooth. It doesn't, you know, it's not jagged, it's not, you know, struggling, but you never know. Wait until you get a very heavily populated area and it might be completely different. So yeah, it's entirely up to you. Raid and battleground, again, you can change it so that when you go into a raid and a battleground when there's a lot of people and a lot of spells going off, you can have it so that the settings get lower when you're in a kind of heavily populated area. All right. Go into your audio. Obviously, if you're like me and you have a Go XLR or something like along those lines, obviously just make sure that the output is set to where it needs to be. For me, it's just my system, which is fine. Audio channels, just leave it at 64-bit. It's fine. Master volume, personal preference, adjust it as much as you want. Again, I can adjust it on my Go XLR, so I don't need to touch anything in here. Thankfully, I personally turn the music off. That again, personal preference. I like to have my own music playing, like through Spotify while I'm playing WoW. So I don't particularly feel like this music really helps. It does only start when you load up the game, and then it's up to you when you have loop music. I leave sound effects on. The only thing I take off is error speech, because when you're spamming buttons trying to get your spells off and they start screaming, I can't do that yet, and it's just really annoying. So take that off straight away. Voice chat, again, entirely up to yourself. If you've got a Go XR like me and you need to adjust things where it all goes, that's absolutely fine. So again, for me, I adjust these things. You might personally not. You might just have a headset plugged into your computer, and that might be it. And jobs are good. And you might have speakers, whatever. However you do it is entirely up to you. Voice to chat, push to talk. But again, I don't really tend to use the voice chat in here. If I'm going to be playing with people, I usually run it through Discord. So voice chat in itself, I don't really mind. Do you guys mind fighting while I'm in the middle of talking? Thank you. Can you just go away, please? Anyway. Language, obviously, is your language. I read and speak in English, so there you go. And again, network, optimized network for speed is fine. I just leave these other two completely unlocked. And there you go. So there's the settings. The next thing we're going to talk about is the edit mode. Alright, so when you load in, you're going to have, it's going to look like this. It might actually look a bit like this actually instead, with literally nothing pressed. But what you'll find is you can check things where things are going to go. Again, pep bar, I don't need. Cast bar goes right in the center. So first thing I do though, when all this appears, regardless of where it's all going, and you don't need to copy me exactly word for word on this. I'm going to show you and show you my thought process behind it, but at the same time, I'm also going to, in the description below, there's going to be an import string. So where you just copy and paste that, you click new, you click import and just paste it into here, call it whatever you want, and it'll give you the exact loadout that I'm about to make anyway. And essentially, it's going to end up looking like this. You're like, whoa, how did that happen? We bring the health bars in a little bit. We bring our party for when we're in our mythics and our dungeons over here. So it's not right up here. Talking head and all that stuff, cast bar. The talking head and stuff's not going to be on. So get rid of these ones. The cast bar sits there quite nicely. That's our pet bar. Again, we're not going to need that right now. So the cast bar sits there quite nicely. That's our stance bar for getting your stances up or buffs. The buffs, the actual buffs are up here. And then your debuffs are there. Your maps there. You basically bring these in a little bit. And then I just lower these slightly. Alright. Now, what I also was going to show you. So this is my DPS and tank. If you're running a healer, there's probably better overlays to use for healing. So I tend to advise you look at someone who specifically heals. I don't heal. So I'm not the worst. I'm the worst person to ask. Alright. So you see now, these abilities bars disappear. So you could have always show buttons on or off. So that way, they won't show if there's no spells there. Alright, same with this one. Always show buttons, so there's nothing there. Oh, save and exit, yep. But as soon as I go to put something there, so they all appear again, so I can then put it up there. But then it's going to appear there. Alright, shift 1, that is there. And then down, back down, then they're going to disappear. You can't do that with the bottom bar. The bottom bar always has to be there, but trust me, you will fill it out very quickly anyway when you are moving along in your game. Alright, so action bar 1, obviously I have the hide the bar art and hide the bar scrolling. Again, I think it looks a bit nicer. Again, entirely up to you if you want to leave them on or not. With the party ones, now you can have it where it looks like that, where you have like four or five people in your party. I personally use raid style ones. So, because when you do it like this, you don't see yourself. Okay? You just have your 4 party members. I just use raid frames. You can see it has the percentage underneath where it says party frames there as well. It looks a bit nicer, and again, you know, you want to make it bigger and you know, a bit bigger if you really want to. It's entirely up to you. All right, you can make it really tall, and again, that's probably more for healing. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I think about halfway is about fine there. Or just have it as small as you want, and it's there. Again, if you're doing DPS and you're tanking, you don't need to worry about this too much. Just obviously for a tank, your own health more than anything. This is again more of a healer. I just like bringing it in a bit closer, so I'm not up there needing to look, right, is everyone alive? It's just nice. It's in my peripheral. I can see it. It's fine. All right. I think actually I might just make it a few clicks. The same. Oh, I can't make it that. There you go. So there you go. That's fine. Looks nice. And again, we changed it in our settings earlier, if you remember. So that it shows you the color of the person. So because we're a mage, it's using us as the example, and it's all blue. But if you have a demon hunter in there, there's going to be a purple one, and you know, it just looks nicer. If you don't use if you don't use the color ones, it just makes everyone green, obviously to represent health. But I just think it looks a bit nicer having other people's class colors there instead. So we go with that. Okay. So again, you can take a quick look and see what I've done with it here, or if you want, just like I say, copy and paste it, click import, call it what you want, and then there you go. That is that done. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has helped you in some way, shape or form, without going into too much mad detail about everything. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Again, hope it helped. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.